Thanks for joining me today. I'm just going to do some work on the cabin, and I figured I'd share it with you. So it's been covered in snow, and it's been snowing every day I had the chance that I could have worked on it until today. So taking advantage of a nice sunny afternoon, I'm going to see if I can't get that top layer of the floor on. So got to uncover things and get going. is what's left on top of the tarp, the first tarp that I had on. If you see the previous videos, this one's been on there for a little over a month, I think, about a month, and just been sitting there through all the weather, and apparently it's somewhat permeable because it seems to have, through melting and refreezing, the tarp itself has stuck to the lower level of the boards. So hopefully I can get it off. Hopefully that'll, just clearing the snow off the top, will be enough for it to warm up a little bit as my feet pound around and loosen up the frozen ice, that little tiny layer of frozen ice between the tarp and the floorboards, so that it doesn't just peel off and rip the tarp. It's pretty thick, so hopefully it won't, but this is just what you deal with. So it's pretty iced over, heated up and melted quite a few times, but it's only about 5 or 6 inches on there, so we'll just get through it. That's just ice right there. Well, there we go. Let's walk over there and take a peek. My hands are pretty cold. I don't have the right gloves for the job. Working out here in the cold, but they're what they are. So this side came off pretty easy, as you saw. It had a little, if you look at the previous video, when I put this tarp on, it had a little bit there before I put it on. That was not down when it was dry. And so that's all it had to compete with a little bit of snow that didn't sweep off when I put that on. And the rest of this, you can see, is ice. So I definitely want that to melt before I put anything else on here, because I don't want to trap that moisture between the levels of flooring and then have everything get all messed up just because I wanted to rush it. I mean, look at that. It's a lot of water. I'm gonna get down. So I'm gonna have to thaw that out, and I could do it the slow way and let the sun do it, or I could do it the fast way and bring out a heater, and might not be super fast, but it'll be faster than just waiting for it to do it on its own, considering that it's winter and it's freezing. And if I leave it uncovered like this for it to thaw and dry, it might just find its way to hanging out under another snowstorm and getting even more than what it's got. But might be able to give it a little boost. So we'll see. I know I've got a heater that kind of points downward, one of those outdoor heaters. It's pretty tall though. I think I'd probably have to get it on full blast just to get it down that far, because it stands about 7 feet up, more or less. So that might be enough, but that's the update so far. I was hoping to be able to do more right now, but that's what building this way does. I'm not in a rush to get the job done. I want it done well. And so these need to dry out. Now, if you take a peek here, I'll just go over this again. This is what I have as a subfloor. It sits on top of the joists, which are 15 on center and evenly distributed, 8 of them. Right here in the middle, you can see one end's here, one end's here, one end's there, one end's there, and that's the way it goes all the way across. And I'm planning on using different lengths. Now I have to identify those and centered on joists. But these, as a subfloor, it's just set down. Now, obviously, this is plenty strong. I could have that as the floor and it would not be any issues. However, I want it super solid, and I don't want it something that gets penetrated easily by anything coming in from underneath. So I am going to rip one of the boards in half. So I start staggered, and then when I put the layer on top of this, I'll make sure that the joints are not lined up with these joints. So everything will be overlapped, kind of masonry style, and that way it'll increase the strength of the floor and decrease the penetrability from both cold and things like rodents. So I don't want any surprises coming up. And this is leveled. There's supports under the center of each joist, and if you go watch previous videos you can see how I did that and how I cut and placed the joists and the external frame, and in creating those logs. So the base is about 7 inches thick, both this way and this way, and the rest are going to be about 6 inches thick, 5 or 6. We'll see how I do it, but I need all of this to thaw out because I'm going to be using this space. So I'll have windows there, door in the center on this side, windows here, I'll have windows there, and that'll be a solid wall. Probably have mirrors or something that I make for it. We'll see. But that's how she is so far. Now I've got a question for you all watching. Are there some gloves that you use that during the winter time that keep your fingers warm and allow you use of your full capacity of the dexterity of your digits? If you use a glove that's good like that, then please leave me a comment below. And if you have an experience that stands out to you using gloves like that, which I think those are Harbor Freight gloves or something, but they're not the ones I like the best, but they were the ones I had laying around when I came out here. And you know, they're too big for me, but they'll protect my hands. Definitely better than doing that, pulling that tarp off barehanded. That's not something I would have done just because of the cold and the wet. But you know, maybe so I've got my stack of boards there that I'm going to use for the floor. Maybe I'll measure and cut a bit so that we can progress on it, and just have to wait for the floor to thaw out, and then those would be ready to install, rather than waiting for it to thaw out and then still having to do that. So that'd be a way for me to utilize my time, compound the waiting time into working time as well, just be a little more productive. So maybe I'll do that, but this has already been about a half an hour, so I'll close for now, and thank you for joining me. Please share any comments, and if you have any requests or questions about what's going on, please let me know in the comments, or feel free to make a video response, and give me your insight on things that you've done for making sure that no rodents or no significant insect population comes into your cabin or your structure that you've been building. And I appreciate you letting me know. I appreciate your subscribing to my channel. That really helps. And also sharing my videos with anyone that you know that might be interested. Thank you much. And I look forward to sharing more with you as I progress. Have a good one.